tragic motorcycle accident in Orange Walk claims life of well-known local man Stephen Bell. A couple from Ladyville is caught with over 8 kilograms of cannabis on bus from Orange Walk to the city. Post-mortem examination reveals James Mendez was shot to death. And it's back to the negotiating table for the unions and the GOP. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Monday, June 2nd, 2025.
It is truly a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the house by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go exercise, have fun.
Electricity Limited is pleased to announce the holding of its 2024 annual general meeting at the BEL corporate headquarters on 2.5 miles Philip Golson Highway, Belize de Belize, at 3 p.m. on Thursday, June 19th, 2025. For registration purposes, shareholders are advised to bring along a valid identification, such as a social security card. Shareholders who are unable to attend may choose, and we encourage you to exercise this right, to appoint your proxy, or you can simply appoint the company's CEO or the corporate secretary as your proxy to represent you at the AGM. Proxy forms can be submitted at the BEL corporate headquarters on 2.5 miles Philip Wilson Highway, or via email at shares@bel.com.bz no later than 5 p.m. on June 17th, 2025. For more information or assistance, contact BEL's Securities Officer at 227-0954, extension 1512.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Well-known Orange Walkenian Stephen Bell, affectionately known as Ratty, lost his life over the weekend after he and his girlfriend were knocked down off a motorcycle. The incident played out shortly after 10 on Saturday night on San Andres Street, just a stone's throw away from Bell's family home. Shirley Bell, Stephen's mother, was at home on her veranda when she witnessed the horrifying accident where 2 persons were knocked off a motorcycle by a speeding vehicle. Bell says she saw as the male person was dragged by the vehicle and thrown to the pavement. And while she was horrified at the scene, she never imagined it was her son who lay dying on the pavement.
When I'm outside on the veranda, when I hear this vehicle come on a heavy speed, right? So I just say, man, who they drive so hard? But when I hear the knocking, the impact, I look up and I say, man, somebody get hurt. But I see when this person, like one shine thing, gone like that, I never know them on a motorcycle, right? And I say, when it breaks, and this person gone up in a day and dropped. So I say, man, who must get hurt? And then one young man will pass and he said, Mommy, he said, that's Steve, you know. They knocked down. And then I conscious that my son. And when me and my nephew, my grandson, run out there, he take his last breath. And me really broke up bad.
Belle had spoken to her son only moments before the accident as he was heading to the nearby shop to make a purchase. His girlfriend, Ada Williams, coincidentally was passing by at that same time and stopped to pick him up. Moments later, the couple was knocked from behind by this red SUV.
But when I'm outside on the veranda, when I hear this vehicle come under heavy speed, right? So I just say, man, who they drive so hard? But when I hear them knocking in Ghana church, and when I come up from church, I say, I come to take off their clothes because heaty. So then I put on my shirt and some blouse, and the house me kind of shit up to the house me had. So I said, I go up on the van and go take a little breeze. Then I see him in the pass, going past the next side of the street. I tell him, why are you going? And he said, going to China, go buy 2 cigarettes. Right now they come out, they look like same time. The girlfriend come out at work and stop to pick him up for make thing go. Because usually spend the night with she. And go, he take off with she knapsack, half of the cycle as he usually do. And they put it on, make him go climb on the back. And then that's when the young lady get any impact from back on.
Speeding, according to Bell, was a significant factor in this incident as the vehicle was noted to have been traveling excessively fast.
But you mentioned this person was going under high speed?
Yes, because when you get that the bump right there, you never stop, you know, you usually stop to make your cross, and if the nice vehicle not cross it, and she never just bam, bam, but he hit them from behind, and then he normally well, I never know that they had the same moment, but the young man made it put on a knapsack on his back, so when he knocked the cycle and the cycle gone, so that then it looked like he made a knock him, and he left hook up on the windshield, and when she come up the side and brakes, and then he dropped like that now. Then I know that. And then I scream and she run out. But I still never know that Steve until when the young man tell me that Steve, they knocked on the gun out there at me.
Williams, who was driving the motorcycle, sustained various injuries, including a broken arm and leg and a fractured hip.
In the hospital, she get 3 surgery. The foot, the hand, and the hip. You don't get 1 surgery, the 2 left.
She made a drive.
She may drive a cycle, because Steve don't know nothing about drive cycle.
Now, while this incident has left the family dealing with a great loss, Bell says they have no hard feelings against the driver of the vehicle and simply want justice for their loved one.
One lady or the one man. I never come out of the vehicle, sit down right now the vehicle person. So when the police come, and then she come out and my daughter gone to her and say that I'm a young lady, and then he get to know that who. Or she said he never
seen me
I don't know that, you know, because I'm in the way of my date. And then he never really, my daughter gone to her to see that who, but she never gone with her a rash intention. We say, well, one knock out and he gone, and you see the girl, he tremble and he cry, and she hugged the girl. You know, he hug her and tell her, no, that one accident, and well, you know, that one mistake. We don't want to do nothing. Then the brother come and police scared him.
Stephen, according to his mother, was known by the neighborhood as always being willing to lend a helping hand.
Well, he not no trouble, man. He not give no trouble. He ain't go fishing. Every time you want to find him, go to the riverside. In the door, there you find him. Or if you know the fishing, he never when go on a season, he try catch one or he catch book up to off his head. Or, cause he say he don't want to be back, nobody be for him bass. He know one bass, he go fishing and things like that. And when he get home and he in a working mood, he can throw your garbage, he can cook for you. So he say, oh lady, you not cook today, I will cook. Cause I cook better than you, so I will cook today, you know, and things like that. If you say, well, if I'm an aggressive person, no, everybody knows Steve. Sometimes when we live back on the other street, either call, gather all the children together and handle him. Roast marshmallow for all the children. So I tell them, boy, how you got them people picking out of the sowers, all out all the children in the yard and he got big campfire with them. You know, he not me like that. Everybody knows Uncle Rocky.
As for the driver of the vehicle, she has been identified as Heidi Chan. She has since been issued with a notice of intended prosecution as investigations on this incident continues.
Police are investigating the death of Steve Edward Bell, which occurred on Saturday, 31st May 2025. On that date, the police responded to the scene of an accident on San Andres Street in Orange Walk Town, where Mr. Bell was observed in an unresponsive state and exhibiting varying degrees of injury to the body. Also observed in the area that was designated as the scene of the accident was a Lifan motorcycle which bore damages and an SUV. What the investigators have thus far ascertained is that Bell was the pillion rider of the motorcycle when the collision occurred between that cycle and an SUV.
Attorney at law Orson O.J. Elrington, age 43, made a court appearance this morning as he was formally arraigned on a charge of rape. Elrington arrived at the High Court shortly after 9 a.m., accompanied by his father and his legal counsel, Senior Counsel Hubert Elrington. The proceeding officially began at 9:12 a.m. when he was indicted before Justice Nigel Pilgrim. The charges relate to an alleged incident that reportedly took place on January 12, 2024. According to the indictment, Elrington is accused of sexually assaulting a woman in her mid-20s. He entered a plea of not guilty to the charge. Prior to entering his plea, Justice Pilgrim outlined the rights afforded to Elrington as a defendant. These rights include access to legal representation, the option to apply for bail, which he currently out on, and the right to a trial conducted solely by a judge without a jury. A case management conference, CMC, has been scheduled for July 1st, 2025. Both parties, the defense and the prosecution, have been instructed to submit their CMC forms by June 27, 2025. Elrington's bail, which was originally granted by the lower court in 2024, has been extended until the upcoming court date in July. Authorities apprehended a Ladyville couple on Friday night for allegedly transporting more than 8 kilograms of cannabis right under the noses of police officers. The incident occurred around 10 p.m. when a Belize City-bound bus traveling from Orange Walk was stopped at the Shell 24-hour gas station at the Philip Golson Highway for refueling. A police constable who was traveling on the bus, along with several other officers, detected a strong smell of cannabis emanating from the vehicle. The officer's attention was drawn to a couple seated approximately 4 rows behind the driver. At their feet, the police noticed a green handbag and a black school bag. When the constable inquired about their belongings, the woman reportedly responded with a simple nothing. A search of the bags uncovered 8 transparent parcels containing what appeared to be cannabis. The suspects, identified as residents of Ocean Drive in Ladyville Village, were immediately removed from the bus and taken to the police station for processing. At the station, the 8 parcels were weighed in the presence of the suspects, revealing a total weight of just over 17 pounds, more than 8 kilograms. The couple has been charged with possession of controlled drugs with intent to supply. Joseph Ryan Budna has been taken into custody by authorities in connection with multiple cybercrime allegations. According to Assistant Superintendent Stacy Smith of the Belize Police Department, Budna was detained last Friday and subsequently charged with several offenses related to his online activities. The charges include 2 counts of using a computer system to publish data intended to cause significant emotional distress, as well as a single count of disseminating false information through a computer system with the aim of publicly ridiculing another individual. The accusations arose following a complaint from a woman who claimed that several online posts authored by Budna inflicted emotional harm upon her. Authorities indicated that the investigation into these allegations is ongoing.
On Friday, 30th May 2025, police formally arrested and charged Joseph Budna of Trial Farm Village for 2 counts of using a computer system to publish computer data to cause a person substantial emotional distress, and 1 count of using a computer system to disseminate a false information, a false statement with the intent to cause another person to be the subject of public ridicule. This arrest and charge was as a consequence of a report made by a female in relation to several postings of Mr. Budna.
So cyberbullying basically, that's under cyberbullying?
Yes, yes.
That's funny. Do you know exactly how much time he's facing?
I don't want to misquote, but I think it's up to 5 years. It could be a fine of 10,000 or up to 5 years imprisonment. Yes. Well, I'm not sure because I literally just confirmed that he was in fact arrested and charged. But it's a bailable offense, so it's to determine whether or not he was able to meet bail.
In addition to the cybercrime charges, ASP Smith mentioned that Budna also filed a report against a man last week alleging that he was assaulted with what appeared to be a riding crop. The police have begun investigating this case as well and are in the process of collecting statements from those involved. Of note is that this is not the first time that Budna is charged with cybercrime offenses. Coming up next, public sector unions reject the government's 3% salary proposal in unanimous stance. Stay tuned.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance.
Nota de duelo. It is with deep sadness that we announce the passing of Miss Florencia Ignacia Castillo, lovingly known to many as Miss Moot, who departed this life on Thursday, May 29th at the age of 61. Miss Florencia was a beloved resident of Orange Walk Town. She is survived by her husband, David Villanueva, her children, Felicia Friesen, Alexandria Grajales, Christopher and Alexander Villanueva, her son-in-law, Martin Friesen and Amir Grajales, her cherished grandchildren, Fern and Gregory Friesen. She also leaves behind her siblings, Ricardo Castillo, Arturo Castillo, Adolfo Castillo, Carlos Castillo, and Lourdes Saldivar, along with many other family members and friends who will miss her dearly. She is predeceased by her father, Adolfo Felix Castillo, her mother, Teodosia Castillo, and her brother, Gilberto Castillo. The Mass of celebration of her life will be held on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 at La Immaculada Catholic Church at 3 p.m. The repast will be held at her residence. There will be no wait. We ask for your prayers, love, and support during this difficult time as we remember a woman whose warmth and kindness touch many. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. John 11:25. May she rest in peace and rise in glory.
So tied up in a straight line.
Tonight, police have issued the results of a post-mortem examination conducted on the body of 49-year-old James Mendes, which concluded that he died of a gunshot wound to the chest. Mendes, as we have reported, was reported missing by his family on Wednesday, May 21st, after he left home and failed to return. James was last seen on Tuesday, May 28th, as he left home on a green pickup truck, saying that he was going on a job and would return in a few hours. After he failed to return home that evening, his family became worried, and by the next day, his disappearance has sparked a multi-day search involving local law enforcement, along with his family, friends, and concerned community members. This search led to Mendes's farm, located about 2 miles outside the community of San Juan, here in the Orange Walk district. His body was subsequently found inside a well. Police tonight still have no leads or a motive behind Mendes's killing.
As it relates to the murder investigation concerning James Mendes, which occurred in Orange Walk, the post-mortem was conducted on the body of Mendes, and the result is that the injury that was observed on the body when it was discovered was a gunshot wound, which has been designated as the cause of death. Police investigation into this matter continues.
Any suspects?
No suspect so far.
No possible motive was he involved in anything drug-related or anything like that? Is he known to police?
He was not known to police. However, the investigation is still in its infant stage, and the investigation will continue.
What's the name of that victim again?
James Mendes. Mr. Mendes was reported missing, I believe, on the 20th of May and subsequently discovered a couple days after on a property in the Orange Walk district.
As we told you on Friday last, authorities are currently investigating a serious allegation of sexual assault involving 2 students at Belmopan Comprehensive School. According to initial reports, a female student sought assistance from the vice principal and the school medic after experiencing bleeding. School personnel initially believed the injury was related to menstruation and provided appropriate care. However, the student was subsequently taken to the hospital as a precautionary measure. The situation took a more serious turn when a family member of the female student arrived at the hospital and raised allegations of rape. In connection with the investigation, the male minor has been formally charged with unlawful carnal knowledge.
On Thursday, 29th May 2025, police formally arrested and charged a 14-year-old male minor of Belmopan City for the crime of unlawful carnal knowledge. This arrest came as a consequence of a report being made by a 13-year-old female minor that on the 28th of May, whilst on her school compound in Belmopan City, the male minor had sexual intercourse with her against her will. The male minor was arraigned before the Belmopan Magistrate Court, where he was subsequently remanded to New Beginnings facility.
So it was against her will, it wasn't a consequence of his boyfriend or girlfriend type stuff. It was against her will.
The report made by the female minor is that there was no consent, and importantly, I must note that persons under 16 cannot give consent, but certainly the facts that have been forwarded to the DPP office, her in her wisdom decided that the charge of rape was suitable under the circumstances.
And the minor was the one to make the report, not like an older family member?
The minor was accompanied by a family member.
Are you able to say where on the compound did it happen? Because I know that was a day when no teachers were around. So you suppose in a classroom, was it?
It was in an open area on the compound.
The school's administration has not yet commented on or released a statement regarding the allegations. The joint union's negotiating team with JUNT has formally rejected the Belize government's proposed 3% salary increase for public sector workers. The rejection was communicated through a letter addressed to Prime Minister John Briceño on May 31st, underscoring the union's firm stance against what they deem an inadequate wage adjustment. While JUNT expressed willingness to cooperate on certain administrative issues, such as a proposed 60-day response window for counter-proposals during negotiations, they made it clear that their primary concern lies with the level of wage increases offered. The union emphasized the proposed raise does not meet the needs of public employees nor reflect the dignity they deserve. The unions also expressed appreciation for the government's commitment to honor transfer grants and clear outstanding payments owed to transferred public officers under the 2021-2024 collective bargaining agreement. JUNT has requested an official circular to confirm the revised transfer grant rates, aiming to ensure transparency and proper implementation. A prominent point of contention remains the government's plan to raise the national minimum wage to $6. JUNT insists that discussions about setting a minimum wage should not hinder efforts to provide public officers with living wages that truly reflect their work and contribution. In their letter, the union stated public service embodies the highest form of civic dedication and charity begins at home, emphasizing their belief that the government, as Belize's largest employer, has a moral obligation to ensure fair compensation for all public employees. The rejection of the 3% salary increase, which is scheduled to take effect on October 1st, 2025, signals ongoing negotiations. The unions are advocating for wage adjustments that will guarantee dignified livelihoods for those who serve Belize, highlighting their commitment to securing fair pay for public servants. As negotiations continue, both sides are expected to engage in further discussions to reach an agreement that balances fiscal responsibility with the need to adequately compensate Belize's public sector workforce. 7 primary schools from across the Corozal district are benefiting from a donation of 14 fruit trees as part of Belize's very first school composting program. The project, which was launched back in October of 2024, is being done through Recycle Organics, a Canada-based organization who is focusing on methane mitigation. As the project now comes to the final stages of its pilot launch today, the first school received its 14th fruit tree, which marks commitment to the project and their role in helping to reduce waste in their community. Tara Hoisington of Recycle Organics today told us more about their visit to San Antonio RC School and their participation in the project.
In our in Corozal, we're working on a complete school composting program in each schools. And so the schools had were given compost bins, and throughout the days and the weeks and the months, the children they put the food waste into the compost bins. They learn how to mix the bins, and then now we're doing our final walkthroughs, and each school is getting free or donated fruit trees, and we're doing the tree planting and final report. Recycle Organics they are working towards methane mitigation projects, and food creates methane when it goes to the dumps and landfills. And so what we're teaching the children is the science of composting. We're also teaching them about the environmental impacts with greenhouse gas emissions like methane and even carbon dioxide, and how it makes climate change, and it heats up the earth. The methane traps heat in the air. And so we're just trying to teach them some personal responsibility about why they want to keep food from going into the trash. And then the bonus is what they can do with it. And like they consider that being a circular economy, they can create organic fertilizer for their plants. The San Antonio, they have a significant established garden club. They actually came in second place for the Garden Club of the Year in Belize. And so this is a great addition to adding the fruit trees and adding a compost bin is a great addition to their garden club. The students are responsible for managing the compost bins as well. They collect the food scraps from either the cafeteria where they almost have like a full feeding program there. So they do have a lot of food waste. And the students are required to collect the food waste, and then they have to dump it into the compost bin. They mix the bin, and then they also keep it moist so the food will break down. And it takes about 2 to 6 months to get good compost. And so far, they're doing really well. They're putting in about a gallon of food scraps in their bin a day.
Since the start of the project, Hoisington says the participating schools have been able to prevent over 1,500 pounds of food from reaching local dumps, thus further helping with methane mitigation.
Yeah, so the overall goal is to educate children about personal responsibility and waste management, and that just doing this little part of retraining like how to do things. Food waste and organic waste is typically about 40-50% of trash. Food waste is about 25% of that. And it's just a significant decrease in waste management, just removing that from our waste. And if we just start teaching the children young, they can go home and they can teach their parents. And hopefully when they're older, they'll teach their children. So this is like a generational thing that we're trying to start when they're young, teach children personal responsibility, and then they can use it for compost. They can use the end product. We are currently in 7 schools in Corozal, and we have 7 more scheduled for the start of September as well. And in that 7 schools, from January till now, we've already removed 1,500 pounds of food waste just among those 7 schools. And so that's about 3,000 pounds of food waste a year that we're preventing from going into the dumps and landfills.
As the pilot project now comes to an end, the hope is to have it recreated in other schools across the country in the coming years.
Main goal, the first year is more of, was the pilot. We wanted to see how it went and see what needed to be fixed and all the things that were in between. So now we're in the process of just writing a report and of the project and presenting it. We want to present it to the Ministry of Education, and we want to get composting onto the national curriculum, as well as the practice of composting, the practice of the schools using the compost bins to manage their food waste instead of going to the dumps or burning their trash. So this is the next steps. Yeah, so this is the first 7 schools was a great pilot. And then we already have 7 schools committed for next year. And I mean, the goal is the entire country.
Great. I think we may have covered everything. I don't know if there's anything else you would like to add before we wrap up.
I feel like Belize is a great place to do this. That people are, you know, already connected to the earth, and gardening and seems like a second nature here. And so this is just a great compliment.
Other schools who have benefited of composting bills as part of the project and will be receiving fruit trees throughout the week include St. Victor RC, Nazarene Primary School. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
We are here at Highland Estates today to deliver 50 newly constructed studio homes to well-deserving families.
We have to say great big thanks to the people and government of Taiwan. Ambassador, please convey our greatest appreciation. This wouldn't happen without you, without your government, without the former president being so inspired, being so impressed by Minister Julius's presentation at that bilateral meeting.
The provision of affordable housing is the shared commitment and the common policy priority of both our governments. Taiwan is therefore very honored and pleased to partner with the government of Belize to support such an important program.
I'd like to give thanks to the Republic of China. 50 starter homes, ma'am, Ambassador, was done with your government's contribution of approximately 3 million Belize dollars. In addition to that, MIDH came in with our resources and we did the clearing of the bush. We did the surveying and the filling of the lot of a cost of approximately $500,000. Then we worked in collaboration with the utility companies to get some discount, and we managed to bring the cost of bringing power and water here for a cost collaboratively of $500,000.
I'm glad for this and I really appreciate it.
This is for my children. This is something that I was like hoping for, longing for.
In 10 years, probably in 5 years, when you come back here, you're going to see it totally different. You're going to see some people that have added to their homes. You're going to see more homes being built. We, those that are being blessed and have the opportunities, we take these things for granted, but it's not. These are the things that really start to make people's lives better and give them a sense of purpose.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness, MOHW, is advising the public against the purchase and consumption of a product in circulation labeled as royal honey. This is a product marketed for sexual enhancement. This advisory follows alerts issued by the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and the Ministry of Health of Costa Rica, both of which confirmed through laboratory analysis that the product contains undeclared pharmaceutical ingredients. These undeclared ingredients may cause harmful health effects, especially in individuals with underlying medical conditions or those taking prescription medications. The product is falsely promoted as natural and is sold primarily through online platforms and informal vendors. The ministry strongly advises the public to obtain health products only from licensed pharmacies and authorized distributors. The sale of medications and supplements through social media, street vendors, or other informal sources is strongly discouraged, as these products may be unregulated and unsafe. Anyone who has encountered these or other questionable health products is encouraged to report them to the Ministry of Health and Wellness at drugalert@health.gov.bz or by calling 880-2363. The ministry remains committed to ensuring the safety and quality of products available to the public and will continue to monitor and take necessary action against unapproved or potentially harmful health products. The government of Belize GOB through the Ministry of Economic Transformation MET and the Resilient Rural Belize Program RRB with funding from GOB, the International Fund for Agricultural Development IFAD, and the Green Climate Fund GCF provided weather sensors to the National Meteorological Service NMS of Belize to upgrade and support the growth of observation network in 2024. These sensors assist the Climate Services section in providing real-time weather information to rural farmers and households in Belize. This upgrade will enhance NMS's ability to monitor weather and climate variables, maintain its observation network, produce sub-season and seasonal climate forecasts, and tailored climate information disseminated to the agriculture and other climate-sensitive sectors in key rural communities via the RRB program. Once completed by June 30th, the 13 weather stations will provide detailed, real-time weather data from all 13 communities in the RRB project area, including San Carlos, Yochen, Libertad, Yo Creek, Santa Marta, Nagubank, La Gracia, San Antonio, Red Bank, Barranco, San Jose. This data will enable the NMS and local emergency partners to better forecast severe weather and extreme climatic events more precisely, distribute resources in key areas, and take faster action to prepare for and respond to potential impacts on the agriculture sector before, during, and after these events. It will also help to improve emergency response as we prepare for the upcoming 2025 hurricane season. Our observation network provides invaluable real-time data to help us monitor and forecast extreme events before they threaten to impact the country and in particular the agriculture sector across these key communities. And they will be able to act quickly and proactively to be better prepared. 6 of the weather stations have been installed, with 4 being upgraded, and the remaining 3 will be installed over the next month. The weather stations were installed in strategic locations. They record measurements every 5 to 15 minutes, including relatively humidity levels, wind speed, temperature, rainfall, soil moisture, and soil temperature. These data will be analyzed, modeled, exchanged, processed, archived, and created into agricultural summaries and products, allowing farmers to anticipate any potential seasonal disruptions and prevent potential losses. The next phase of this initiative will involve the upgrade and release of the NMS's first mobile application that farmers and the public will be able to use to access real-time weather, climate, and agro-meteorological information, weather, and climate early warning alerts provided by the NMS. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Tuesday, June 3rd, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.